Whether you're looking to put yourself out there for new opportunities or you're being forced to attend networking events, there's no doubt that it can be incredibly intimidating and overwhelming to attend business functions or really social functions for that matter. As an introvert, I'm definitely an introvert, and I know what it feels like to get into your head, to start thinking about all of the excuses that you could make to get yourself out of the obligation that you have already committed to. But how can you overcome that to make things a little bit less scary? I, by no means, am an expert on this, but I know from my own personal experience some things that I've done to make networking a little bit less scary. And believe it or not, I've even had some people comment on how much more confident I seem when they see me at events. I don't think that it's just something that people notice. It's really also something that I feel. I feel much more confident and empowered when I go into new environments with new groups of people. Even big events do not scare me like they used to. So I would love to just share some of the things that I have learned and used over the last few years to be able to really take my networking skills to the next level and to make things a little bit less intimidating. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's dive in. Hello, my name is Emma Shermer-Tamir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma, and normally I'm talking about marketing or branding or e-commerce and how to grow your business online. But today I wanted to talk about a different type of topic that's very near and dear to my heart. And I think it's another very important aspect of growing a business, because at some point in time, you're probably going to have to go out into the world and engage with other people. So whether that's sales calls, whether that's conferences and trade shows, networking events, you're probably going to find yourself there at some point. And if you're an introvert, then you're probably going to be a little bit freaked out. So what can you do to get better at this and maybe not necessarily look forward to networking events, but at least go in and feel a little bit better? The first suggestion that I would make is start off small and start off with low stakes. So before you are going to a really big event or something that has a lot of significance to it, maybe find an event or two that you can go to that have zero stakes or very low stakes, that if you feel silly, if you feel out of your element, if you feel like you have to run away crying, it's okay, because it didn't matter anyway. So that could be finding something totally different than the industry you're in. That could be going to somewhere like Meetup or Eventbrite and finding something local in your area that you can go to and just kind of dip your toes in, strengthen those skills, because really networking is just like anything else. It's a skill that can be learned and grown over time. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. So I would say try to find some events that you can go to sort of get those gears in motion, practice some of these other techniques I'm going to be talking about. And hopefully by the time you get to that really big, important event, you'll have gotten that practice under your belt and you'll be feeling much more confident when you walk in. So another thing that I know I find to be one of the key causes of stress when I think about attending a networking event is I feel like I'm either going to have nothing to say or it's going to be my job to carry the conversation. And that is a lot of mental load. That's something that I still struggle with very much so. But I found that by having some topics preloaded, it can make that a little bit easier, so I don't feel like I'm having to both simultaneously be my very best self and be trying to think of an icebreaker or something to say. And so some great sort of things that you can keep in your back pocket are thinking about what is the theme of this networking event. If it's about business, then what is maybe something that's happening in the news related to business that could be interesting, maybe an article that you've recently seen, or a podcast that you're really enjoying, or a book that you read, or another event that you're going to be attending. Or maybe if you've already had one day of the event, thinking about some of your top takeaways and the things that really stood out to you that you know other people at the event could also engage with. So having some of those topics preloaded so that you can just pull them right out of your bag when you find yourself in a conversation that isn't flowing quite as smoothly as you'd like it to will really help to lower the stress. Another thing, sometimes I feel trapped in conversation. Like I get roped into something and then I don't know how to get myself out. So this is the totally opposite problem that I was just talking about. So sometimes you feel like you're doing all the heavy lifting. Sometimes you feel like the person that you're talking to is lifting more than what they should be, and you feel like you're stuck and you can't even find a moment to actually get a word in. It is absolutely okay to say, excuse me, I loved connecting with you. Let's definitely stay in touch, and then go on your merry way. Whether you feel like you need to go to the bathroom or go get a refreshment or do something like that, or really you can just walk away. If you're at a networking event, most likely everyone else there is looking to connect with as many people as possible. So it's in no way bad practice to step away from an interaction that it has felt like it has run its course. It is okay. Another thing that I started doing a few years ago that really changed the nature of networking events for me is setting very clear goals of what my objectives are for a particular event. So that could be an amount of new contacts to create. That could be also an amount of existing contacts to connect with and strengthen. It could be key people that I would really like to get a few minutes of FaceTime with, but having very clear numbers associated with that. So let's say I know when I'm going to this next conference that every day I want to be establishing 10 new contacts. That's going to almost gamify things a little bit and remind me that I have bigger objectives there that are beyond any fear or discomfort that I might be having in the moment. And then my final tip, and this is kind of a silly one, but I would encourage you to assume a role. So almost imagine that you are preparing to be an actor and you are thinking about putting on that costume, getting into that role, and really being a different version of yourself. Not to say that you should pretend to be somebody else, but almost using your clothing as a kind of armor. If you wear makeup, same with that, and doing what you can to really channel a more confident version of yourself. So one thing that I will do sometimes is I will put on a red lipstick. Red lipstick is very powerful. It commands a lot of attention. That might seem counterintuitive if I'm feeling nervous and like I'm a little bit hesitant about going to the event, but it's sort of like, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. So you put on that red lipstick and then you have to own the red lipstick. Obviously, this doesn't have to be makeup related. It could be a great suit. It could be a new haircut, but really something that helps you feel good about yourself, that helps you get into this alternative, extroverted role of you that's going to dominate that event and make everybody just in awe of how charismatic and delightful you are. And believe it or not, if you can really take that in and you can, you'll walk different, you'll hold your posture differently, you'll engage with people in a different way, and it really can have a massive impact on not only how you feel, but how other people respond to you. So these are just some of the tips that I've learned. I'd love it if you have tips of your own to drop them below. This is a different kind of video for me. I don't normally make content that's quite as, all the feelings and touches on some of the insecurities that I know I personally have, but I think a lot of other people in business have as well. So if you found this helpful, let me know by liking, subscribing, showing me some love. If there are other topics that you'd like me to talk about that have nothing to do with networking or introversion, I'm all for it. And in the meantime, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.